Hi everybody, today we're going to make this blossom hexagon. I showed it to you the other day and you expressed some interest in it. And while I'm not likely to choose it for the summer of babies, I thought you still might like to learn it. So it's from my book, Marvelous Crochet Motifs, which is a really hard book to find. So I'm going to go ahead and just teach it to you. And then we will go from there. So the blossom hexagon is an intermediate skill, but we can totally do this. We're going to start with worsted weight. We're starting in the middle with a J hook, and we are going to chain 4. So we're going to start with a slip stitch on this pattern. There is a symbol diagram in this book. I might have a couple copies of this book left if you are interested. 1, 2, 3, 4. We started with a slip knot and we chained 4. We're going to join with a slip stitch in the first chain, the 4th one from the hook, keeping my thumb and middle finger so that that little loop stays open, because that is where we're going to place these beginning stitches. Chain 1, 2, 3, which counts as the first double crochet. Now in that loop, we're going to place 11 more double crochets for a total of 12. And I like to work over my tail as I work. So now I have 2 stitches. The first beginning chain 3 counted as 1, 2, 3. I hope you all are doing well. So this is actually the 4th one because my beginning chain 3 counted as 1. So there's 4, 5, 6. I expect Theo to make a flying leap onto my table any moment now. I've raised the table quite a bit, so it's so much higher because I'm standing rather than sitting, and he can't quite make the leap. So let's see if he can do it from the other countertop. He will probably make the whole thing shake, but we will just go from there. So we have so far 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Very good. So we will join with a slip stitch in the top or the 3rd chain of the beginning chain 3, which was the first double crochet, joining with a slip stitch, and we actually are fastening off that middle color. Grabbing my scissors, cutting the tail, feeding the tail through the loop that was on the hook, and setting it aside. I only have 2 colors with me, so I'm likely going to use this corally pink again. Pull off some of this blue because that's what I had handy. Of course, you can do any project in any color you like. I do like the darker color for This is what the back looks like, by the way. I do like the darker color for these taller rows, but you know, mix it up and see what happens. So for round 2, we are going to, and my motifs are all the right side. Like I don't turn when I change rounds. I like to keep all of the right sides on the same. So we're going to join. I'm going to place a slip knot on the hook. You don't have to join this, but I'm going to join with single crochet and any stitch. So I'm just going to insert the hook in any stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through 2 loops on the hook. That is a single crochet join. Now we are going to front post double crochet around the same stitch where the single crochet join was. So front post double crochet around that stitch. Okay, totally doable. Now we will single crochet in the next stitch, front post double crochet around the same stitch all the way around. So we're placing 2 stitches in each stitch. We're doubling the stitch count. So I had 12 double crochets on round 1. I will have a total of 24 stitches on round 2. 12 of them will be single crochets, 12 of them will be front post double crochets. I love the layered look of this motif, and you guys will often see a theme running through my designs of front post double crochets because I just really love the layering that they create. So when you get to the beginning first stitch, it's a little tricky. This is where some people make mistakes with like adding a stitch or subtracting a stitch. So make sure that you get your correct stitch count, 1 single crochet and 1 front post double crochet for every double crochet of the previous round. Does that make sense? I hope you all are doing well today. Thank you so much for joining me. So this Marvelous Crochet Motif book is, I don't know, it was my third or fourth book. I have 6 now. You can look for them on Amazon. You can look for some of them signed copies on my website for people in the United States. Most of the books are on Amazon. One Skein Crochet is my latest book. Finished with a front post double crochet or on that last double crochet. Look how pretty that is. It pops so well, doesn't it? And we will join with a slip stitch in the first single crochet. Okay, now we are not fastening off just yet. Chain 1, we are on round 3 now, single crochet in the same stitch, chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Skip the next stitch. I'm going to give myself a little more slack with this yarn. Theo is behind me on the countertop just waiting to pounce. We'll see if he will. We're going to skip the next stitch, which happens to be a front post double crochet, and single crochet in the next one, which is that's a single crochet back there. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Skip a stitch, single crochet in the next stitch. This sets us up to use other stitches. These skipped stitches we'll use later. 2, 3, 4, 5. Skip a stitch, single crochet in the next stitch. Repeat from star all the way around, which means we just keep doing this in pattern until we are done. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Skipping the front post double crochet, single crocheting in the single crochet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There will be 12 chain 5 loops. I'm laughing because the cat jumped down, grabbing some yarn out of my work bin. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Luckily, it happens to be a ball that he has been stealing several times, so it is already a tangled mess, so he can go ahead and have that one. And as long as he leaves the other ones alone, we are in good shape. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Skip 1 stitch, single crochet in the next. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Give myself some more yarn slack out of this ball. Can you hear in the background? Probably not. My daughter having online digital learning lessons down in the dining room. My son having online digital learning lessons in the TV room. My husband having a Zoom meeting in the basement. And me up here filming a class. Okay, look how pretty that is. Okay, this just makes me happy. Okay, so at the end of round 3, we are fastening off. So I'm going to pull my hook out. Cut 2 inches or so, 1.5 inches, place the cut piece through where the hook had been and pull snug. Okay, so the blue here is the lavender at this moment. Now, instead of working the dark purple, I'm only doing 2 colors. I'm going to do pink again. Let's see how this looks, nice and colorful. So round 4, we're going to join B, color B. We're going to join this color, since we're only doing 2, with a treble crochet in any front post double crochet of round 2. So round 1, round 2, round 3. So in one of these front post double crochets, I will work a treble. And it doesn't matter which one I join with, but you know what? When I'm adding new colors, I often like to join somewhat far away from where I fastened off. That way I can work over the tail and the tails are spread out around the piece instead of all stacked on top of each other. So to join with a treble crochet, working behind the chain 5 loops, I'm going to yarn over twice, insert the hook in the stitch indicated, yarn over, holding all those yarn overs on my hook with my thumb, yarn over, pull through 2 loops on the hook, yarn over, pull through 2 loops on the hook, yarn over, pull through 2 loops on the hook. Now my tail is up here at the top of the stitch, which is just fine, but I like this better than like chaining 4 because it's an actual stitch there. It's an actual treble crochet. It's not a chain 4 that acts like a treble crochet. So that's why I choose to do it this way. So there is 1. So we are on round 4 and we're placing 2 treble crochets, 2 more treble crochets, I should say, in that same spot for a total of 3. Kind of working behind that loop, acting like it doesn't even happen. It's just hanging out there. So after the 3 treble crochets, we're going to chain 1 and we're going to repeat by placing 3 treble crochets behind the chain 5 loop in the space, the stitch that was skipped. Okay? So yarn over twice, insert, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Should we do that slowly together? Yarn over twice, insert the hook in the stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through the loop, 2 loops on the hook, yarn over, pull through 2 loops on the hook, yarn over, pull through 2 loops on the hook. So we have 3 of them all in one stitch, chain 1, and we will go to the next skipped, unused stitch. Okay, we'll do this all the way around. I love crochet. You guys have heard me say this a million times, but I'll go ahead and say it again. I love that it is a craft where I get to be, oh, here comes the kitty. He's trying to find new ways to get up here with this really tall table. I love that it is a functional craft, that from my art, my creativity, I can make something that functions, that either keeps people warm or is a oven, pot holder type thing, or is a dishcloth, or is a hat that keeps people warm, or a blanket that keeps people warm. I love that my craft not only is pretty and fun, but it's also functional. So that makes me happy that my craft is useful. I love to be productive. I find that days where I am not productive, I am less happy. And on days where I feel like I got a lot done, I feel very happy and productive. And for me, productivity can mean, many different things. Some days it means going for a run. Some days it means making a video. Some days it means, let's not work over the tail just yet because it's getting tangled. It means catching up on my email. Sometimes being productive means changing sheets on the beds. Some days being productive means eating right or taking good care of myself. So being productive can mean a lot more than just getting work stuff done. I find that when I am productive in one area of my life, it makes me feel like I can accomplish anything in any area of my life. So when I exercise, for example, I feel on top of the world, like, hey, if I can exercise, I can also pray, and I can also make a good meal, and I can also have more patience with my family. Anyway, this is me just rambling on as we continue around the circle, placing 3 treble crochets behind the chain 5 loops. We are going to use these chain 5 loops later, but for right now, they're just hanging out. And I am just crocheting along. Thank you for joining me. Make sure you hit like on this video if you like this kind of content. Please check out in the description below my Patreon support levels. Also, you can make a one-time gift on my website if you want. There's also patterns and PDFs available on Love Crafts, books available on my website, ellengormley.com, and all sorts of goodies for you. Okay, did I do them all? Looks like I have 1 left. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 groups of 3. So I have 1 more because we are working in multiples of 12 here. So 2 more treble crochets before I finish this round. So we have 36 3 times 12 opportunities. I finish with a chain 1 because that's what the pattern says. I'll join at the top of the treble crochet with a slip stitch to finish round 4. And I am going to fasten off. Am I going to fasten off? Why would I fasten off? Do I really want to fasten off? Yes, I'm going to fasten off because I actually want to join the new yarn in the chain 1 space, and I don't feel like slip stitching it to advance it to that spot. So I'm just going to go ahead and cut and move my tail to the next section and join the same color in this case. Okay, with a single crochet in any chain 1 space. So I'll just advance away from my tail so that when I get to it, I can work over it. Single crochet, so I put a slip knot on my hook. I'm just going to poke my hook through the chain 1 space in between groups of 3 treble crochet, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, and pull through the 2 loops that are on the hook to join with a single crochet. Now we will then single crochet in the next treble crochet. Now pulling this chain 5 loop up, we're going to single crochet through that chain 5 loop and through the treble crochet at the same time. Okay, so do you see what I'm doing here? So the next single crochet is going in the middle treble. I'm pulling up the chain 5 loop so that I'm working through it. I'm not working through the stitch, but I'm working through the loop and just placing a single crochet and a single crochet in the next treble as well. I am going to single crochet in the next chain 1 space. So I'm essentially single crocheting all the way around, single crochet in the first treble of the group, pull up the chain 5 loop and single crochet through it and also the next treble with a single crochet. Got it? Single crochet in the treble, single crochet in the chain 1 space. So we're just single crocheting all the way around, and when I get to the middle one of a group of 3 trebles, that's when I'll pick up that chain 5 space. So much fun, and you can see it starting to pull into these star shapes. This is one of my favorite of the motifs in this little book. In this book, the Marvelous Crochet Motifs, there's 48 different motifs, but there's like 24 of them, but then also half motifs from each one. So like you can make this hexagon into a half motif, which comes in handy when you make a blanket and you don't want an irregular edge. You can plug those half motifs in to fill the gaps. I don't mind the irregular edge, but some people do when you put hexagons together, and that helps take care of that if you are a person who likes to fill the gaps. So in this book are hexagons, squares, I forget what other shapes I've got going on, but there are projects also in the book, a couple. I forget how many, maybe like 3, maybe 4, I forget. Is there 4 projects? 4 projects, hexagons, squares, hexagons and squares. There you go. So that's what I got going on. Anyway, it's fun. So single crocheting in each of the treble crochets and the chain 1 spaces, and then when you get to the middle treble crochet of the group is when you pick up that chain 5 loop. And it really makes for this lovely overlay looking fabric. Working over the tails there as I come to the joining, single crocheting through the loop and the stitch, working over the tails in the next stitch, working over the tails in the chain 1 space, working over the tails in the first treble crochet, and then picking up the loop and working over the tails in the next one. See, so look how cute that is looking already. I love the little optical illusion. It looks super complicated, but it is just one color at a time, one row at a time. You've done this before with other motifs probably. It's maybe just a little bit different than what you've been doing, but not hard at all. Okay, here we go. This reminds me of one of my son's teachers calls tests OFEs, opportunities for excellence. So instead of saying it's a test or something hard, or that this was an intermediate motif, it's an opportunity for excellence, which also reminds me, often in running, you know, people dread hills, but really they are mounds of opportunity. Okay, so we will finish this round with a slip stitch in the first single crochet. We are not fastening off, but look how gorgeous that is. So, so cute. If you did this in wool, this would be a nice like hot pad type thing that you could put like a hot pan on and it wouldn't melt. I'm using acrylic yarn right now, so acrylic yarn is plastic. It will melt. Ask me how I know. I've done it before. Okay, so we are going to slip stitch into each of the next 2 stitches. We're just advancing the yarn so that I can start the next row, and I wanted to start the next round here in a single crochet. So we're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, 4 double crochets in the same stitch. So we're in the single crochet here, 1, 2, 3, 4. So that first chain 3 counted as a double crochet, plus 3 more makes a little shell of 4. And I'm going to add 1 more because there should be 5. So there was a chain 3, beginning chain 3, which counted as a double crochet, plus 4 more. Chain 1, skip 3 stitches, 1, 2, 3. In the next single crochet, we're going to place double crochet, chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and double crochet in the same stitch. This is the final round of this motif. So this is this part here. We're making the gap, we're making the shell of 5, we're making the gap, okay, all the way around. And if I were to join motifs, join as you go, I would do that in these chain 5 loops by doing a chain 2, slip stitch, chain 2, okay? All right, so we are chaining 1, we're skipping 1, 2, 3, placing 5 double crochets in the next single crochet. 1, 2, 3, 4. I hear the cat playing at my feet with the ball of yarn that he grabbed. Chain 1. And let's go ahead and show you how to join to a previously made motif. So the first motif, you would continue in this pattern all the way around without joining. The second motif and all motifs after that, you would join at this point when you get to the logical adjacent issues. So I've laid it out here. I am going to target the next one of these on this motif. I'm going to join it right here. Then I'll do a shell that's just like this one without joining. Then I'll join here. Okay, so we will double crochet. This is not in the book. How to join these motifs for this particular motif is not in the book. It's just kind of an intuitive thing. So because I didn't use this particular motif in a pattern in the book. So here you go, bonus material. Chain 1, 2, because there is a chain 5. The third chain will be working under that loop, grabbing the yarn, pulling it through the loop and through the loop on the hook. So there's a slip stitch there. That's the third of the chain 5. Then 4 and 5. Then come back to the same motif, finish that little grouping with a double crochet, chain 1, and so we have successfully joined a corner there. Okay, see it? Now I'm going to skip 1, 2, 3, working on the current motif, place 5 double crochets. We are not joining here, although we could, I guess. 2, 3, 4, 5. So I didn't join here. I wasn't planning on joining here, but if you wanted to join here in addition to these corners, what I would have done is joined here and done 2 and then slip stitched into that third, the middle one of the group, and then come back and double crocheted 1, 2, 3. Totally up to you. I don't like this join as well, so you could also just do the 5 grouping and not join at all here. but that's what it would look like if you did. And then skip 1, 2, 3 on the current motif and do your double crochet, 1, 2, come put your hook underneath it, underneath the loop on the previously made motif, grab the yarn, pull it through that space, pull it through the loop on the hook. You're just slip stitching into that space, chain 1, 2 to make numbers 4 and 5, double crocheting in that same stitch, and you have the join made. Okay, so then I would just continue in the pattern all the way around, allowing that other motif to dangle. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 double crochets here. If you were in the middle of an afghan, for example, and you're ready to join to other motifs, say you've got a whole bunch of others and there's another one over here, you could then join at any point where it is logical to do that. When you're confused whether or not to join, lay it out flat and see where the contact points would be. And then before you cut and fasten off, I suggest you lay it flat and make sure you are correct. 4 or 5. Also, when you cut and fasten off, leave a little bit of a tail. That way, if you made a mistake, you can go back and fix it. Like if you joined when you shouldn't have, then you know, it's a very small amount of yarn difference between when you joined and you shouldn't have, or you didn't join. Make sure your tail is long enough so that if you have to add a little bit of extra yarn in there to go back and join when you forgot, that you'll have enough. So make sure your tail is long enough. 3, 4, 5 to go back and make mistakes. Fix mistakes, rather. We all make mistakes, but to fix mistakes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we are almost done here. Chain 1. So I'm just working my way around the motif, alternating these groups of 5 and these chain 5 spaces, making sure to lay it flat and get oriented and make sure I know where I'm going. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so that if I did make a mistake, I can go back and fix it before I cut. And then when I have finished, so you don't have to join here if you don't want to. It could also just like be a bigger space, or you could join like I showed you. And then when you're all done, you finish with the chain 1, you will join with a slip stitch in that first double crochet, which is a chain 3, the top of that slip stitch. Make sure you leave it a little bit of extra yarn in case you messed up on your joining, and then you'd only have to rip back to here to fix it. But make sure you have enough yarn. Cut the tail. Put it through where the hook used to be. So there, my friends, and look, it looks like a completely different motif, doesn't it? In just 2 colors. So very interesting how it just visually pops differently with the 2 colors instead of 3, and also placing the darker color on top instead of the lighter color. So I've inverted the contrast with it. So what do you think? What do you think? Do you like the spiky pointy part being dark, or do you like the spiky pointy part being light? What do you think? Anyway, I hope you have enjoyed this Blossom Hexagon. It is from Marvelous Crochet Motifs. If you need a copy of this book, send me an email. I'll see if I have any left. You can also look for it on Amazon. That might be your best bet. It might be out of print. But anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this lesson today. I know I have enjoyed this time with you. And like and subscribe for more videos. And thank you so much. See you next time. Bye.